Hello everyone, this is Paz, Crafting for Mommy here, and welcome back to my channel. I felt like it's been ages since I have posted a card tutorial, and rightfully so. However, I have not been idle. I have been focused on my diamond painting project. Check out my Facebook page, Crafting for Mommy, and also my Instagram account, crafting underscore for underscore mommy. And I usually post periodic progress update on my project, diamond painting project. On that, it's a picture of a beautiful lady with a dog, so just right up my alley. However, I cannot be um but impressed by the members of the Diamond Press user group on Facebook, because everyone is going gaga about this haunted mansion die, and it is so beautiful. I spent yesterday a day just going through my scraps, playing with the dye. I've sat for a few hours and I've done so many. And this is what we're going to do today. I am sure you could easily catch up on how to work on the dye, but we are going to do that Shadowbox card. So this is the dye itself. The Haunted House is the name. It comes with a stamp set as well. And what I'm going to do is that I am going to walk you through what each of those dies cut. It has so many layers. I mean, that's one thing that that you really need to focus on this. So the first die set that you're gonna get is for the base. So that's what it cuts. Then you're going to do the sides and the door. So that's what I'm showing you, is that's the cut or the pieces that you're going to get from each of the die. And then you are then going to need to cut the middle portion of the house. So that would cut not only the middle portion, but if you notice, I'm pointing on to those two sides, and that is for the stairs. To be honest, those pieces are too small. In my view, it's too cumbersome. So you'll see I didn't put all of those on the houses that I have built. And it's okay. I mean, it looks good as it is. If you want further details, go ahead. Now, this is for the iron or the wrought iron work. But on other houses, I see this not only as metal, but I've seen wood type of structures on this. And you also have a lot of layers to bring out the colors of the house. It's beautiful, guys. I mean, if you have the chance and you missed it on the first airing, grab it, because what we are going to do within the week is that I am going to post videos on providing you tutorials of not only using this from the original intention, which is for the for a haunted mansion, but you'll see that this is easily done or can be used by just switching the different paper into everyday cards. So let's put one together, and what I would suggest is that you be with me throughout the series of the tutorials, but make sure that you save this, because this is the only time that I'm going to show you the step-by-step on how to build the card. So what I'm doing in here is that I would like to also have stamped images behind the windows and behind the door. So I'm gonna show you a technique on how to do that. So 4 stamps is what I use, and what I do is that I hover the stamp on top of the layer, and then take the layer out just so I know exactly where it goes. All right, so you'll see me do this bit by bit by bit. So that's what I did on the ghost. I hovered it right in front of the light purple layer, and what I do is that I take it out and then stamp it. So what you will see is that it is exact. Again, if you're using or mass producing this kind of card, what I would suggest is to use your stamp positioner. Get your Misty out or the Crafter's Companion tools. We are memory keepers. Stamparatus also has one. But it needs to be in the exact position just so you could really see on the window the images that you're trying to put in. So here I'm putting in the spider that's hanging by a string of cobweb. So that is so adorable. See, it's exact. So that's what you just do. You hover your stamp on top of the layer and then take the layer out and then stamp right there. And so that's the small pumpkin. So that's all the stamping that you need to do. Do not worry, I was pointing on that smudge of that thing. Don't worry about it, because you are going to actually cover majority of this base sheet with different colors and layers of your cardstock. Oh, and by the way, I was giving you a glimpse, a sneak peek of what we're going to use for the rest of the week. I have made, I think, about 15 houses yesterday. So we will have a lot of cards, and we will have I will have different techniques using that to show you for the rest of the week. So not only for Halloween, but also on how to use this die for everyday cards, and making this like Victorian houses that are very colorful. So you are looking at how I'm building the mansion itself. So by this time, because I built 15 yesterday, I've already memorized how to get it done. But the instruction that comes with the kit is so helpful because it's so visual. It will really show you step by step what layer to put on, what layer to adhere, and which goes on top of what. However, if you are someone who would prefer a video instruction like what I'm doing in here, why don't you subscribe, but also put this on your favorites or like it, just so you could easily access it on your YouTube library. And whenever you build the cards, like what I'm showing you here, what I'm just doing is the step-by-step version of it on video. All right, there's so many small pieces, so you just need to really be a little bit patient with this. My fingers were like smudged all over with colored paper and also with glue afterwards, but it's so worth it. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful die sets that, in my humble opinion, Diamond Press have released. It is versatile, it's cute at the same time, it is impressive because the cuts are very intricate, especially those black layers, the layers that I've cut in color black. On a regular, on a usual Victorian mansion, the roofs like that is made out of metal. Wrought iron is usually what they put on the balustrades and also on the porch ironwork. I do see a lot of Victorian houses in southern New Jersey. So there is one of the first seaside resort towns in the US is called Cape May. If you guys haven't been there, Google it. I'll put a link below of the town of Cape May. And I live here in New Jersey, and it is maybe 3 hours drive or 3.5 hours drive from New York City. It's beautiful. You're going, it's the southernmost tip of New Jersey, and you're going to enjoy the beaches, and that's already the Atlantic Ocean. But you will see the majority of the town actually has these historic homes. It is one of the, or if not the first, seaside resort towns in the US. Way back in the 1800s, there are a lot of mansions in there because New Yorkers, the industrialists from New York, they make that as their vacation spot and so on, similar to what what regular folks from New York or the tri-state area, New Jersey and Connecticut does. It's we want to go to the beach. Hamptons, Cape May are among the places or beaches that you can go to. And they do have beautiful houses right there. There has been a fire sometime during the 1800s, I believe, that destroyed a good portion of the city with these houses, because major these are built by wood, through wood. So when there was a great fire, it was, wood being a fire hazard, and highly combustible, it actually destroyed a huge portion of the town. But there are still a significant portion of the town that has not been eradicated by the fire, and there are multiple tours of that in there. um Check out my Facebook video, because what I'm gonna do is to provide you guys with pictures that I took during our vacation there, just so you can have a point of reference or inspiration on the different colors of the Victorian houses. That is that really exists. It's beautiful, and this is very typical. What the Haunted Mansion has as a structure is very typical. Anyway, going back to what I'm doing in here, um, I have that tray. That's my those are the implements from my diamond painting, and I've got hundreds of those. So when I was cutting the small elements of this die set yesterday, like the pumpkins, the ghosts, I put them on tray just so it's very easy for me to get it. So don't forget to embellish your houses with them as well. If you look into this, it's so cute. Every time I finish one, I exclaim like, "It's so cute," and it is. Um, and what I'm just doing is that, I cut the ghosts in different scrap paper. I've got gray, I've got scrap silver foil paper in there. And what I'm just doing is that I'm just putting it one after the other. I want ghosts all throughout the house, not only inside peeking through the window and the door, but I also want it outside. I also did for the pumpkins, I also did the same thing for the pumpkins. Anyway, we're done with the house, but what I'm going to show you now is for the shadow box. I am using the Stamps of Life shadow box die. You cut the base twice, and it scores it, and then you also have the shelves, and you just cut it as many as you want. For each shadow box, I usually use two. I'm also showing you a nesting die. Stephanie Bernard intends for us to use our existing nesting dies in our arsenal. Every crafter has one, to cut the aperture for one of the portions of the layer, simply because we've got so many. She doesn't need to include that. On top of it is that at least we have the ability to pick and choose what shape we would like as an aperture. So, Crafter's Companion, they have on sale for the past few months that nesting dies in hexagonal, in circle, in heart shape. So you can use that by all means. And I am sure, like me, everyone has way more than nesting dies that we can ever use in this lifetime. But see, it's handy. Whenever things like this, you have the right size, you have the right gloves, and so on. So what I am doing in here is that I am putting it I'm trying to assemble with two pieces of the shadow base. Is that I am putting a red liner tape on the flap, just so I can start adhering it and start assembling my card. I'm using red liner tape in here, which is quite unusual. You guys have been seeing me use my Kalal all-purpose glue, and I love that glue. But in this case, I really want a very sturdy type of construction, but I want it to be dry immediately because I've got so many things to adhere inside. I can't be patient. So in here, what I was showing you is how many do you need to ready in terms of the shelf. On my end, I want two, because I want to have a background layer, and I want the mansion to be a little bit further up front. So I did two. I also did red liner tape on the flaps of it, which is already pre-scored when you run the die, so it's very convenient. All right, so that's what you do. Now, what I'm also showing you is that I have a background paper on the card itself, just because I really want to have like the backdrop of the night sky. So what I did is that I have cut a square piece of paper two layers because I want the batty side, and then the other one is like a gray, just to capture the night sky. And I just layered it on top of one another. This is a little bit of a mistake because if you notice, I'm gonna peel that out because I forgot that I should have adhered the flap first. You know why? Because if I did not do it, the seam is going to be on the outside, and I don't want that. I want the seam to be on the inside, so that's why I peeled it out. Just adhered one side of my flap first, and after that, after I did that, overlay the background paper, which makes me feel that also my shadow box card is more secure. So here I am going to put back in that background paper, the gray one, to capture the night sky, and then I am going to layer on top of that my cardstock that has all those bats in there. So fun. It's so pretty. Do not worry that it's there's an overhang, or it's not exactly the same length, simply because the shelves will cover that. So I did not intend for it to go all the way down off the shadow box card. All right. Now, one thing I have for you as a trick is that the die comes with the circle die because that's for the moon. You need to adhere that before you build everything else, because once you have all those elements in there, it's going to be difficult to adhere or to put things in. You don't want to inadvertently tear whatever layers that you're putting in there. So just make sure that whatever you have on the backdrop, you do it. So I think what I'm just doing in here is that I am showing you that there are so many Halloween sets that Diamond Press have released, and one of them has this particular die. If I'm not mistaken, that's for the pop-up. So I want to have a spooky tree, as a background. So what I did is that I cut that once, and if you noticed, I am gilding it with Nouveau Mousse. That's in silver because what I wanted to have as an effect is, under the moonlight, it usually casts a silvery shadow on the trees, on the houses, on the fences. So that's what I wanted to add a little bit more of of spookiness on my composition. So nothing, there's no special technique in here. This is like finger painting. Dip your fingers on that mousse and just tap or smear or cover that cutout with that. If you don't have Nouveau, you can also use the Pebeo gilding wax. That's going to be awesome on it. My technique is actually to start adhering the big pieces to my shelf before I even put the shelf in. At least I've got more control on what I would be able to put in. I also noticed that it's a little bit long. That cutout is longer. So what I did is that I have cut it just so it's going to be on the size. I cut out so many bats. It's on a tray, and what I'm doing in there is that using my fine tip glue bottle and also some tweezers, is that I'm putting some bats on my tree. Just another additional element. Like, I like my shadow box card to have so many elements in there that the recipient would feel like, oh, there's a surprise tucked in inside. There's another bat in here. There is a smiling pumpkin, towards the bottom. I wanted to have an element of surprise. Now, this is the technique for putting the shelf. You slide it in, and then you pinch the sides. So see, it's cute. And then all you need to do is to do the same thing. Get another shelf. And then what I did is that using red liner tape, just so it's immediately dry, but at the same time it's super strong, is that I have adhered my Haunted Mansion onto that shelf. I am having a difficult time getting the backing of this red liner tape, but through my pointy tweezers, finally was able to get it. All right, so I just adhered it in there. And remember the piece of the fence that we cut out on it because it's so long. I told you to save that up, and this is where we're gonna use it. So again, put a little bit of Nouveau embellishment mousse in there, just so it's like it's as if the moonlight is giving it a glow, or a silvery wisp of color in the evening. And what I did is that I stuck that in behind my mansion. And then, for the surprise element, I have cut way too many pumpkins, both the big and the small. So what I did is that I am putting in some pumpkins on the foreground of the fence, just so there's an additional surprise element in there. Isn't it cute? See, I mean, even by looking at it now, doing the voiceover, I still exclaim, "It's so cute!" whenever I see it done. I mean, that's all I've been doing yesterday, with my husband watching TV, and I am doing this whenever I finish one. I'm telling my husband, "Look at this, it's so cute!" And he's so amused with the different houses that I've been doing, beside him while we're watching the rerun of CSI, which I love. Oops. One thing, just a tip. I like my shelves to be further down, which means it's away from the aperture because I like the topmost shelf. I want to have a really decent gap of that versus the top frame. The reason being is that that is the one that gives a good element that the house is a little bit farther away or farther out. Now, one of the diamond press kits, there's so many, I can't easily keep track of it. Maybe I'll do a little bit more diligence on the description just so I could show you where I got this from. But one of the kits has this amazing wrought iron pattern type of gate. And what I did is that I cut it because it's too tall. It's gonna cover majority of my mansion. So what I did is that I cut it and then I adhered it on the top part. And if you notice, I was like, "What are you doing, Paz?" I have I put a scrap paper while I'm adhering it because I use it using wet glue, and I don't want the wet glue to seep through my mansion. All right. Now, there's also another kit among the various diamond press releases that they did that has a banner and it has that sentiment, have a spooky Halloween. I just stamped that in white pigment ink and I put a what do you call that? It's a gloss. It's the translucent glossy type of oh my god, the name's embossing powder, the clear embossing powder. And I put that as a banner on top to say have a spooky Halloween. See? So cute! And now I have two. So I'm just showing you the different dimension that your recipient will see. They'll be amazed as to how much depth. It's just two layers, technically three or four, because of the elements that you created on the background, the wrought iron. It's there. So, and what I was just showing you, so towards the back, there's an opportunity to finish that further. Layer it. Oh, see, I gave you another sneak peek. Anyway, layer some cardstock at the back just so you can write your sentence. So here it is, two of the Shadowbox cards that I have completed. Thank you so much for watching and stay tuned for the upcoming tutorials. Thanks, bye!